Please video like and subscribe this channel. The galaxy of Varkan had known fear for more than 1,000 cycles. It was not the fleeting fear of pirates or warlords, nor the calculated dread inspired by empires that rose and fell like tides. This fear was older, deeper, and far more intimate. It was the fear of being watched and bled. At the center of it all sat the Vampire Empress, Serelith Varel, ruler of the Nocturian dominion. Her throne world, Kares, orbited a dying red star, its light filtered through vast orbital veils that cast the planet in eternal twilight. The Nocturians had evolved in darkness, feeding not only on blood but on bioenergetic resonance, the life force that pulsed strongest when fear and reverence mixed. Over centuries, they learned to farm entire civilizations, harvesting tribute not just in resources, but in living vessels. Most species knelt. Those that did not, vanished. On this cycle, the Grand Hall of Blood echoed with the low hum of antigrave pylons and the whispers of terrified delegates. Representatives from a dozen conquered worlds stood in ceremonial lines, shackled not by chains, but by tradition and terror. At the center of the hall, beneath a floating obsidian canopy, Serelith Varel reclined upon her living throne, crafted from black crystal and the preserved bones of ancient kings. She was tall, impossibly pale, her skin like moonlight on still water. Veins of faint crimson light traced beneath her translucent flesh. Her eyes, deep and luminous, glowed with a predator's patience. Long silver hair cascaded down her shoulders, and behind her, folded neatly, rested wings of dark membrane veined with scarlet energy. Today was the tribute of renewal. A ceremony meant to remind the galaxy who ruled, and why resistance was futile. One by one, attendants presented offerings, vials of synthesized plasma, prisoners bred for optimal vitality, artifacts taken from fallen capitals. Serelith accepted them all with polite disinterest. None of it stirred her hunger. Until the humans were brought forward. They were new to the galactic stage, loud, fragmented, and infuriatingly resilient. Their worlds had resisted assimilation longer than expected, not through superior technology, but through stubborn refusal to collapse. Even now, their home system burned under Nocturian siege. The human delegation consisted of a single individual. He was unarmored, unaugmented, and visibly exhausted. His name, according to the translators, was Elias Rook. A former systems engineer turned resistance courier, captured while escorting refugees off-world. His clothes were torn, his face bruised, but his eyes were clear. That alone unsettled the court. Serelith rose from her throne, her presence silencing the hall. She descended the steps with predatory grace, stopping mere inches from the human. She inhaled slowly, tasting the air around him. No tremor in your pulse, she observed aloud, her voice smooth and lethal. Curious. Elias said nothing. A ripple of irritation passed through her. With a single clawed finger, she sliced the air and space itself answered. Elias gasped as an invisible force tore open his forearm. Blood welled instantly, bright red against pale skin, dripping onto the obsidian floor. The court watched in reverent silence. Serelith leaned in and let a single drop touch her tongue. She froze. The blood was different. Not stronger. Not purer. But layered. Grief, defiance, love, rage all braided together in a resonance she had not tasted since the ancient wars. It burned and steadied her at once. She drew more, deliberately this time, letting the wound deepen. Elias clenched his jaw but did not scream. The nobles murmured. This was no longer ritual, it was indulgence. Then, against every law of survival the galaxy understood, the human spoke. That's enough. The words echoed unnaturally, as if the hall itself hesitated to believe them. Serelith straightened slowly. You address your empress without permission? Elias met her gaze. You've taken what you wanted. Now listen. A shockwave of outrage rippled through the court. Weapons hummed. Guards moved. Serelith lifted a hand, stopping them all. Interesting, she said softly. Do you know how many have begged for mercy where you stand? I don't care, Elias replied. His voice was steady, though his blood still dripped onto the floor. Because begging never stopped you. Something ancient shifted behind Serelith's eyes. Then why speak? She asked. Because you're tired, he said. The hall erupted in stunned gasps. Serelith laughed once, sharp and mirthless. Careful, human. You feed on fear, on obedience, Elias continued. But empires built on that always rot. You feel it. That hunger isn't satisfaction anymore. It's emptiness. Silence fell again, heavier than before. Serelith stepped closer until their faces were inches apart. Her aura pressed down on him like gravity, enough to crush warlords and saints alike. You presume to understand me? I presume, Elias said quietly, that you remember a time before this. Her claws twitched. Images surfaced unbidden of a younger Serelith, wings unscarred, standing beside others of her kind when the Nocturians were hunters, not gods. When survival had meant unity, not domination. When the galaxy had not yet learned to kneel. How would you know that? She whispered. Because your blood remembers, Elias said. Just like mine does. For the first time in centuries, Serelith felt uncertainty. She withdrew her claws, sealing his wound with a gesture. The blood on the floor evaporated into red mist. Leave us, she commanded the court. The nobles hesitated. Now. The hall emptied in seconds, leaving only the Empress and the human, surrounded by shadows and ancient stone. Serelith circled him slowly. If this is a ploy, it is the bravest and most foolish I have seen. Maybe, Elias said. But if you kill me, nothing changes. If you let me speak, something might. She stopped in front of him. Speak, then. Elias took a breath. Humans don't live long. We know that. But we burn fiercely while we're here. You could have wiped us out already. You didn't. Strategic patience, she replied automatically. Or hesitation, he countered. You don't need more fear. You need a reason to stop. Serelith's wings shifted, restless. And you believe your species can give me that? No, Elias said. I believe choice can. The word struck deeper than any blade. Choice was a myth in empires like hers. Power was absolute, or it was nothing. And what would you choose for me? She asked, voice dangerously soft. To end the feeding, Elias said. Not today. Not everywhere. But start. Let worlds stand without tribute. Let loyalty replace terror. Serelith laughed again, but this time, there was no cruelty in it. Only disbelief. You ask me to dismantle the foundation of my rule. I ask you to evolve, Elias said. Like you once did. She studied him for a long moment. Then she extended a claw and pressed it against his chest, directly over his heart. I could end you with a thought. I know. Why aren't you afraid? Elias swallowed. I am. But fear doesn't own me. The hall seemed to breathe. Serelith withdrew her hand. In a voice that would later echo across the stars, she said, "Very well." Elias looked up, stunned. "I will spare your species," she continued. "Not as pets. Not as cattle. As observers." He frowned. "That's not freedom." "No," she agreed. "But it is a beginning." She turned toward the throne. "You will return to your people. Tell them the Empress listened. And if they don't believe me," Serelith smiled, baring her fangs, "then history will." Guards entered, escorting Elias away not as a prisoner, but as a messenger. Alone once more, Serelith Varel sat upon her throne. The hunger within her stirred, but it was quieter now, less desperate. For the first time in a millennium, the Vampire Empress did not draw blood. She waited. And across the galaxy, empires trembled not in fear, but in anticipation, because a human had spoken back, and the darkness had listened.